Hi everybody, it's Anne Lewis, your Aussie stamper, and I'm from Anne's Paperworks. Welcome and thank you so much for dropping by and stamping with me. You can find my website at annspaperworks.com.au. Now I've even lost count of how many I've done so far, but this is about number 8 in my Facebook Live series Stamping in the Raw, which is uncut, unedited and unscripted, but very scary Facebook Live. Tonight we're actually going to be making this gorgeous, I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous card. I'll just get this my iPad going just to make sure everything's going okay, so if you give me a second. But we're going to be making this gorgeous card, and I'm going to turn off one of the lights. Oh, it's not even on. This gorgeous card, and it features the Heartfelt Blooms Sale-a-Bration Stamp Set. So it's absolutely gorgeous. This is a new sort of stamp, and it is what I would call photorealistic. And as you can see by the beautiful image, now this is going to be patented by Stampin' Up, and you will see why it's so fabulous tonight. Now I've made a few other stamps cards with this as well, so I will just show you those, because you will see, one, how easy it is, and I think it's next to can't go wrong. Now I know I should never say cannot go wrong, but there's the first one, and I've just combined two colours, Calypso Coral and Night of Navy, and these two are using a Sale-a-Bration item, the Tutti Frutti cards and envelopes. This one's in Daffodil Delight, this one in Lemon Lime Twist, but aren't they divine? And so simple. Took me about 3 secs to do these, and I just added a little bit of bling to make them a little bit more special. Hi Pammy, I can see you. Hopefully this is going to be a little easier tonight, because at least it hasn't dropped out with my Wi-Fi. So I'm crossing my fingers tonight that this is going to work all the way through without any Wi-Fi issues. But let's get started on this card here. Now I've done a Night of Navy card base, which is 5.5, so 5.5 by 8.25, which is the width of our cardstock. I have then used Saffron, which is 4 inches by 5 3/8 inches, and then the top layer I've used shimmery white because I want to use some blender pens, and it makes it a little easier to do that with shimmery white cardstock. I've die cut using the stitch framelits here, and then I've used the True Gentleman Designer Series paper as a little bit of a feature, and I'll talk a little bit more about the True Gentleman suite because I think it's fabulous. We've been asking for masculine cards forever, and this product suite makes it really very simple. I'll show you some of the papers in it just before we get started stamping. Now they're all double-sided, so there's that and this one. I can't wait to do a series of cards using these masculine papers. Now, whilst I say they're masculine, doesn't mean that you can only use them for masculine cards. I can see these. I mean, there's a couple of them that probably are only masculine, but geez, look at the other side of it. You could use that with any sort of paper. Now, it also comes with a punch. I don't know whether you can see that, but it's an unusual design, but it kind of makes a jigsaw if you want it to, so all those corners actually can stack together. This is called the Tailored Tag Punch. Buttons have come back in this range, and as you see, I suppose you'd call them faux wood buttons, and they're really gorgeous as well. So I'd like to say hello to Kay, also like to say hello to Robin, and also Liz. So thank you so much for dropping by, but let's get started. Now I always promise that I'm going to show you some tips. So my first tip is I only had a new sheet of the shimmery white, and sometimes I get a little scungy, and I didn't have any paper scraps, which is what I would normally use for this die cut, but I thought I could cut it out of here and nobody will even see it because it's covered. So that's where this little piece comes from, and then I've just cut out a piece of the True Gentleman Designer Series paper. So you can do that with so many designs, both for scrapbooking and also for card making. Just saves you a little bit of money, and it kept my sheet so I actually could use 4 full card layers, which makes it a lot more economical, and we're always trying to save some money. So let's get started. We'll start with our stamping here, and I'm going to stamp it in smoky slate. I might just put this card here so you can see what I'm doing. And Kay, I can see you saying those papers are amazing, and yes they are. I've got to say they've been so popular, and I really like them as well. Now, so I've stamped this up with smoky slate, and as you saw, because it's a big stamp, I took the ink pad to the stamp set, and it makes it so much easier because I'm not holding this big stamp block. Now I'm going to stamp off, I've got a little scrap piece of paper over here, and just take a little bit of that ink off. I don't want to take a lot, just take a little bit of the excess off. I'm only pressing really, really lightly. And then I'm going to, I've just got to get this right. I'm just going to stamp down there, and I'm putting it up near towards the top. Don't worry about that arrow, that was for another project. And as you can see, it's quite faded because I took a fair bit of the ink off it. But that suits me fine because I'm going to colour it, as you can see here. So I didn't want a lot of the base grey colour, that smoky slate, in there. Now, this, you're going to see this does not take me very long. I'm going to use the lemon lime twist. Now, how do I get that ink in the top of the lid? I squeeze quite tightly. Now, these lids are a little flexible, so you can actually put some ink there, and then you're using that. Now I always store my ink pads so I can see the name on there, so there's no confusion as to what I'm using. And I'm going to use blender pens, which come in a set of 2. I'll just make sure the nib is clean. I've got to find that scrap piece of paper again. Yep, it's clean, and we're going to colour these green leaves. So I'm just picking up some colour. Now, look, really, there's no great art in this. Well, not how I do it anyway. And I've changed the colours a little bit here from what I did originally. Now, it's fairly light where I've got this. I'm just going around the edge. And where because I've got that grey, and you can see it's dark and light in some places, it actually picks up, makes it darker where I need it to be. Now where the veins of the leaves are, I do leave that blank, but as you see, I colour fairly quickly. I am no artist. In fact, let's be honest, I am a hopeless artist, but colouring in like this makes it really simple. And I could use watercolours, especially if I was using the shimmery white cardstock that I'm using here. Now give me a bit of time. It's not going to take too long, this. I've just got to clean that off, and I'm going to then do some of the gorgeous blue, and I'm using soft sky this time. So I cleaned the ink in between, and I'm just going to quickly And if you have a few little blank spots, that does not matter with this. Now, whilst it might sound like I'm pressing hard with that squeak, I'm not. I'm just gently picking up some ink and then going on. Now I can always go back and add a little bit more intensity if I want to, but I like the pale look of this blue, and it comes quite textured, this stamp set, so I don't have to do too much work. As you see, it's a fairly quick process. I don't have to. Now, anyone can do this. You've now worked that out, that there's no artistry involved in colouring, and blender pens for me make it a little easier than watercolouring, because I don't have to manage if I add a little bit too much water. Now I'm just really quickly doing this. I think if I had my time over, I wouldn't have taken as much ink off when I stamped off, but this will still work. Now I've run out of blue, so I'm just going to squeeze this. So that's the soft sky, and pick up a little bit more colour and come back over here. Now you don't want to put your blender pen directly into the ink pad, because it'll take colour away, and then next time you stamp you'll have all these bare bits in your ink pad. Now you can see this coming together. I'll add a little bit more blue there, a little bit more blue there. Need a little more here. Well, okay, I just saw your question. I didn't realise that was your question before I answered it, but it's so much better because it doesn't then, especially if you're using water, it doesn't water down your inks. This is the perfect way to do it. Now, another way that you can apply ink is you could, I'll just show you here, you could actually put it directly onto, I'll just close that up for a second. You could put it on to a block like this and take it off the block. So we'll have a go at that, and I'll just show you how that works. You can't see that blue on the block because it's so pale, but it's there. So I'm just going through colouring very quickly. I'd take a little bit more time, but probably not a lot more time if I was doing this not live. Rightio, so we've kind of done a bit of work. I'll leave that blue there because I'm sure there'll be little pieces coming back. I'm going to clear my blender pen again. This time, rather than this colour which I used, Marina Mist, I'm going to use the gorgeous pink, powder pink. Now it's a very light pink. I'll just put that out of the way. Hopefully it'll be right. So I'll pick up some pink here and we'll do these flowers in here. Now you can see that stamp below provides most of the depth of colour where I need it. Now I didn't experiment with these colours before, I just thought they'll go together because they're both in colours from 2017, 2018, and normally, in fact just about always, they fit, they match really well. So I've got some little pink flowers there, and there's a little bit of depth coming in. I might just add a bit more there. Now I could have added some more colours here, like a perhaps a melon mumbo here to add some highlights, but I've just kept it fairly simple because I wanted to get through this fairly quickly. I'm going to clean off my blender pen again. Now I just need the centre of the flowers done. I could have done them in black, but I chose some crushed curry, so I'll just go around here and I'll add a bit of, you can see I can add some more colour just up here. Hi Joanne, good to see you drop by. I know. So there we go. Now I might just go back. That lemon lime twist is a little brighter than I expected it to be, but I'll just go back and add a bit of depth on this around the edge. As you can see, it's pretty easy to do that. Now I could combine colours here if I wished, but as I said, I'm no artist, so I've kept it fairly simple. So there it is. How long did that take? Just a few minutes. I'll turn that back around. Now I do need to do something with that pink. It was a little faded underneath, so I will see what I can do to add a bit of colour here. I think, yep, that's nice and clean. And I'll just add some detail where I need it. It was a little pale. I stamped off just that smidge too much. If I wasn't on live, I probably would have turned it over and started that again. But that'll dry and blend fairly well. Now I just need to add a little bit more blue out there that I missed, as you can see. Oh, I've got this blue actually here. I can use it up, and as I said, you can't even see it, but you can see when it goes on. So I'm just taking that straight off the block. You could do it on an acetate sheet as well. Anything smooth, non-porous surface would work. So there you go. So that's how easy it is to colour. Now remember, the first couple I didn't even colour. I just stamped it straight on. I'll clean off the brush so it's clean for the next time. It's time to stamp in Night of Navy the gorgeous sentiment, which is Thinking of You. I love the font in this. It's such a cute font. Hopefully it's nice and straight. I'll just check. I'm using the grid paper. Always use my grid paper so much. Now what I would normally do if it wasn't Facebook Live is I'd stamp it first and then die cut it second. But I didn't. I know you didn't want to see me spend any time die cutting. So there's the lovely sentiment, Thinking of You. And I'm going to show you a couple of tricks of how to put this together. Now the first thing I'm going to do is adhere the designer series paper, the True Gentleman designer series paper. I'm just going to use snail. I always tap it across because I know I could put it all the way around and it might be slightly more secure, but what I do find is sometimes if I make a mistake I want to lift it up, and I like those little holes that I can actually then lever up. Makes it so much easier. And we all make mistakes sometimes, so it's good to have some strategies on how to do that. So there's the paper. I'm going to add the ribbon just there. Now I have a technique for doing this. I always put my tear and tape, I run it down the edge of the page like this. It's a bit hot tonight, so I know I'm going to have, in fact it's very hot tonight, so makes it really simple to adhere this ribbon. And I'll peel that off. Now normally I have a paper piercer to do this, but I have to say 2 paper piercers have gone walking in my craft room. Clean up day tomorrow. I am sure that it will turn up tomorrow. So now this ribbon is the corduroy, Night of Navy corduroy ribbon. It's part of the True Gentleman suite. So I get it nice and straight, and all I have to do is turn that around because I've already got the adhesive there. I feel it sticking to my fingers a little bit. Not straight. And I don't even have to look, but because I've got the tape there, it just automatically goes where I want it to. So how easy was that? Now, if I had, I'll show you another little simple trick with that. And first off, I'm going to adhere the So Saffron layer. Pretty simple. Now, this layer, as I said, is 4 inches by 5 3/8 inches. This next layer, which is the shimmery wide, is 5 1/4 by 3 7/8 inches. Now I will have when I post this online, I will have the centimeters there. I'm going to pop this up with some dimensions. Now you can never have too many dimensions. Well, in my life you can't. But I don't want it to collapse in the middle. So I will put that. And I certainly don't want it where I've done that little die cut. So that'll do. Because I've got to peel them all off, so I don't want to get too carried away with this. I'm glad you like the card, Robin. It's as with quite a few of these, they're something I zipped up. I just had an idea. I wanted to see if I could colour that flower in with blender pens. I know I could do it easily also with watercolour aqua painters and using a similar technique. Now blends, the stamping blends might be a little strong for using on this flower. It looks nicer with those subtle colours, and stamping blends have such depth of colour. So we're going to put that there. Alright. So how easy was it to attach that ribbon? Then all I've got to do is throw this sentiment on. Hi Robin, the other Robin. And Pam, welcome. Thank you so much for posting on my Facebook page tonight. I just love that card. And if anyone wants to look at a really nice card with the lots of lavender freebie from Sale-a-Bration, Pam made a card and posted it online tonight, and it looks fabulous. So there's my card, easy as. Now, you know I've been talking about naked envelopes with stamping in the raw, but that doesn't mean that our envelopes can be naked. I'm going to just clean up this block because, as you know, I put a bit of blue ink on it. So I will re-stamp. Now I haven't even experimented with this. I might do it in navy so you can see how it looks in a different colour. So I'm again inking it up. Now that way you see the difference. Now I've taken the clear mount block to the ink pad and it didn't give a really good impression. So I'll go back over and you can see how much better that is. So that Night of Navy was really nice to show you how much different it looks. Now I'm going to put it down here because it's the side that the post office doesn't use, but look at that detail on that stamp. Can you see that? Just amazing, and it's so gorgeous. So we'll just put it, I don't know, maybe up like that, maybe like this, don't know really. So we'll just do, so much for my grid paper, but look at that. Isn't that divine? So no naked envelopes. And so there's my project for tonight. So blended colouring was the technique I've shown. The products that I've showcased is the Heartfelt Blooms, which is a Sale-a-Bration product, and it is free with every $90 spent. How good is that? That's what makes Sale-a-Bration so special. And then I've also showcased the True Gentleman suite, in particular the designer series paper, which I just think it's flying out the door now, and I'm going to be doing quite a few projects this week with it as well. So how do you like that? I hope it's been a favourite project for you, and that you'll have a go using your Heartfelt Blooms. If you don't have one, all you have to do is go to my online store, and the links are on my website, as you can see here, at annspaperworks.com.au. And Karen, I'm glad you like that envelope. It's super cute, and I'm always talking about decorating your envelope because you put so much time into these gorgeous cards. You need your envelopes to look really fabulous as well. And hello Nola, thank you very much for dropping by. As a reminder, I've still got some product swatch books available, and also some product shares. So they're paper shares, so you get 6 inches of each of the papers that are in the Occasions Catalogue, and you also get a bonus one from the Sale-a-Bration Catalogue. So all up you get 48 sheets plus a bonus 6 sheets. Go to my website and have a look at the details. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I've had a fabulous night. The Wi-Fi didn't drop out, so that made me feel pretty darn good. The phone stayed in landscape, unlike what it did last week. So I think we're on the way. I look forward to next week, and next week will be I'll have a bit of a break on Facebook Live after next week, but thank you very much, and thanks Frances for dropping by and your lovely feedback, and see you next time. Thanks very much. Happy crafting.